Hello and welcome to Supreme Commander Forge Alliance Forever. We are casting the playoffs of the Summer Invitational hosted by Swackle, with most of the prize pool coming from Swackle as well. And I believe there's some anonymous donator also, so thanks to whoever that was, and especially Swackle for hosting the tournament, being the tournament director, and also casting. Had a long day casting on the Saturday of the playoffs, I believe. So, who have we got here? We have Fremy Speed Draw. That is Petric Pawns, and over here we have Esperanto, better known as Esperanto, or perhaps Pepsi. So let's see, the builds looks pretty similar, except we have Petric building his factory really close by his mexes. Esperanto builds his further away, so the first thing I notice already is that you can see immediately there's a shorter travel distance for the engineers. You can see that Esperanto is walking back and forth, and now actually has to pause his factory. It's running out of resources, which is normal. You will stall at the start if you just build mexes and engineers and stuff. We have a scout out for Petric as well. So I guess before we really get into it, we should say that this is a best of 5 series. Each player gets to ban 3 maps, and then the higher seed gets the first pick, and then we alternate picks of maps. So this map ought to be Petric's pick if I have all of that information correct. And yeah, let's see how it goes. We have the second factory already going for Esperanto. I will be casting all the playoff games. Well, actually no, I casted... will I cast them on the channel? Okay, well, we have several casted already. If you go to my channel and look at the live stream where I casted with Farms, I casted several of the playoff games with him, so I guess we'll just fill in the blanks for the other games, basically. So here we go. Let's cast this game. We have only 1 factory for Petric and 2 for Esperanto. So consequently we have more of everything else for for Petric. He has more power, more mass at this point, slightly, but power is the main difference. Now adding more factories. Power obviously going to be a major limiting factor when you have, well, Crazy Rush mexes. I didn't even explain the map. This is Crazy Rush. Every time you build a mex, it spawns more mex points around it. So you can see how the amount of mass just increases. You can build an endless number of T1 mexes till you run out of space. You're not likely to run out of space, really. So already Petric with way more power, way more power, and this is a huge difference. You can also see that Petric is built his factory really close to the mexes, and now is expanding the mexes around the factory. So this factory is draining almost nothing at this point with this amount of adjacency, which would never be possible on any other map, of course. But this is ridiculous. I mean, that's probably enough of the build orders. Let's end that. But this is a ridiculous amount of adjacency. It looks like he might do it for other factories here. You can see he already has 4 T1 mexes adjacent to this factory. He has 8 adjacent to this one right now. And 4 pigeons. Just for good measure. And this looks like a much better start for Petric. Already. Air factory coming. Bombers extremely effective on this map. For one, I mean, build power is a massive target. Groups of engineers are going to be scattered around. We have a group of 4, group of 4, group of 3 here. And then of course we have pigeons extremely closely built together. And the all important T1 mexes. So T1 air, really important. T2 air, T2 bombers, also important, especially if you have Janus bombers. Now in this matchup we have a UEF player. And we have a Seraphim. So, bombers, really important at Crazy Rush. Very, very deadly. Goes for the radar. Gets the radar. That's a bit annoying. Here comes the first bomber. We have no anti-air whatsoever. We do have 75% complete T2 land. Interesting that he doesn't make this one T2. Or it would be super cheap. I mean, that seems like that would have been a better idea. I mean, I dread to think how cheap it would be, actually. Not the greatest bomb there at the start, but he does get a couple kills. Now coming back around. What's next? Probably these guys. Yep. 3 kills there. So 2 on the first pass, 3 in the second. Static AA going up. That wasn't the worst thing in the world. Another bomber on the way. Esperanto looking to expand into this direction. Looks like he's not going to be successful. T2 land is up. Where are the support factories? We actually have very few factories under construction right now. So we have these engineers here building, and now we have additional engineers. Generally what you do on this map is... Oh, this is... Oh, he doesn't make it, does he? No, there is a bomb there, no? Never mind, there isn't. Yeah, usually what you do is what Pepsi has, you can see Pepsi is queued up here. Just lines of factories across the entire map, back and forth, and then you go T2 super fast, and then you make a lot of support factories, and you go T3 super fast as well, and you make many support factories because you have endless source of economy. You have to constantly be building T1 mexes. Try to get the T2 pigeon up as fast as possible. Spam up several of them very quickly. What you need in this map is a lot of build power. You need a lot of everything. This map scales like no other. And you don't even have reclaim. It's a completely bare map. Except for the wrecks you generate through your battles. Esperanto doing what a lot of people do, which is still just chill in the middle of the mexes, because your ACU can reach way more mex points. Now it's pretty silly to have his ACU be assisted by engineers. You can see basically they walk around, then by the time they get there the mex is built, and then they walk to the next one. Better to just have these guys build mexes on their own around the side. But he is building a lot of mexes. Looks like he's building more mexes than Petric right now. Petric, although he has these factories here, they're kind of in the way, honestly, at this point. Like, they are producing engineers really cheaply, but it means he can't actually queue up a lot of mexes at once. You can see like Pepsi has all this surface area at the bottom basically to queue up loads of mexes at once, which is a lot easier than what Petric's doing, where he has limited spots because the factory's in the way, pigeons in the way at the bottom. But so actually Pepsi is ahead in the T1 mexes. Petric doing something quite normal, which is T2 PDs. Now he's not using Sparkies, which I'm quite sad about. He's using regular T2 engineers. Sparkies have more build power, they're faster, they have a weapon, they have a lot more HP. I think they're just superior. They do have a lower build power per mass, but that is a small price to pay in my opinion. Okay, this position could be raided. There's quite a few mexes here, but Petric needs to be alert. At this point, Petric definitely seems to have less mexes. This raid, he should probably sit right on top of the mexes so that the bomber bombs his own mexes. That's always a nice way to make a raid a bit better. If you think you're gonna die to bombers as you're raiding, then just sit next to what you want to kill and let your enemy do the work for you. So it certainly looks like Petric is behind on units here, big time. He's making T2 on the commander, he's making 4 T2Bs, but they are... This one is definitely going down now to the Zuis. And there's a ton of units on the left and no units to defend. He could be getting all the way to the mexes. Okay, running into the ACU now, that's going to be a small help to Petric. More units coming out of the factory, and he swings left to try and deny this, but there's so many Zuis now taking out factories. Actually, something else to note is that, you know, a lot of people will assist factories. One of the horrible things that can happen, especially if you're using support factories, is that you lose the factory that's being assisted to. Like, you know, these are all slave factories. They basically have the build queue of this factory here. As we see the raid sort of gets cleaned up. It definitely is super annoying. It's doing some damage. He actually gets to the back, putting some hits onto the T2 P-Gen. The P-Gen should never die though. I mean, that would be outrageous if he actually loses this. He's repairing it now with T2 Engineer, which is a little expensive, but vital to protect this. On the right though, this raid is getting through, and we could see some dead P-Gens here. We probably will. Also bombers flying in. And Petric with a very small number of units at this point. And a lot of idle factories. Oh, he actually did lose. As I was saying it, I think he did lose the factory. I can't believe that actually happened. But I was gonna say, if you lose the factory that's being assisted, all those factories have that build queue. It's effectively all those factories get their build queue cancelled, and they stop functioning. The unit that was building is cancelled. All those resources are wasted. It's especially bad if you're using support factories and assisting them. It's a big danger, and mostly on a map like this where you're gonna have a ton of factories. If you have all of them assisting one other factory and they lose the factory, that can be thousands of Mascon. And in this case, it was a lot of T1 factories. That's a lot of Mascon, but mainly it's just dead. It's a waste of so much time. More so than resources. Of course, resources, not really the limiting factor here, but time is a huge factor instead. So this really hurt Petric, actually, losing that factory. It was one of these factories around here. And I actually can't believe that happened just as I was saying it. Got distracted by the attack. He's getting in behind. The Zui's focus the... Okay, he takes out the shield. I only see one T2 P-Gen at this point. No, I see two. But this is not good. Forward factories here. These are going to make Zui's and just be extremely annoying. He has to take out these factories. The ACU at the front line is doing what he can, but he doesn't have enough PDs at this point. They're going down as they're being built. I mean, they're getting plenty of kills, but he needs a lot more. We now have T2 land for Petric, for Pepsi. Also, Pepsi taking some damage to his economy, and I'm sure that's via bombers. I have to imagine it's from bombers. And we need more factories. There's no factories being produced now, and he's lost a lot of factories. Petric has, and they're not being replaced. They're not being replaced. We also have T3 land, but I don't see any T3 support factories at this point, which means the T3 production is going to be really limited because we only have one HQ. There's no other T3 land production. There's no assistance on that factory either. So this is a problem. Petric is getting overrun He's actually getting overrun, and now he can't build anymore because there's so many Zuis that he has to just dodge back and forth to avoid dying, and he needs to keep dodging. Oh, he's taking some hits, but he is dodging, and he's in so much trouble. Now he's running into his own units, which may affect his dodging. He dodges pretty well there, though. Needs to keep doing so, and okay, he will survive now. It's time to start building again, get some more PDs. We see more factories coming up, but again, still behind on units. He has the superior units now. Once again, he has Titans. Needs to make many Titans, in my view. A lot of Titans required. More T2 engineers. Once again, he has T3 engineers here building factories, building PDs. Need to just spread PDs everywhere on this map, and what Pepsi is doing would simply not work against just enough T2 PDs. But what we've seen is, well, not enough. Not enough T2 PDs, that's for sure. We also have no energy production at this moment. Esperanto is now adding TMLs, a bank of them, and TMLs can be quite deadly on this map. Once again, I mean, if he snipes the HQ, he can snipe the P-gens, and of course snipe mass extractors. The economy is well in Esperanto's favor. He's been the one putting all the pressure on, and really only doing it with T1 land, which is kind of ridiculous that he's been allowed to do that. But off the back of that, he can just safely make. He's made quite a few mexes here. His main base here, his main mass extractor base is quite huge at this point, and Petric has lost his expansion a long time ago. He is getting a lot of he's getting some reclaim. Let's not say a lot, because it's not that much really. He has 3.3k for the whole game, which is a very small percentage of his total, as he heads for 100k total mass in the game. Some simple maths. Nice T1 PDs here. They're actually, I mean, it's ridiculous that he needs those, but they are helping. And units getting in the side. You can see he's just running around the PDs. Now focusing, you can see he just moves the, look at this. He just moves all the factory rally points to a certain location. He's like, okay, let's attack the right side now. The left side, probably he'll attack the left side next. You can see the center has a lot of PDs now in this area. But here come the TMLs, and they're flying directly over a lot of TMD. So I'm guessing that Petric saw this bank coming, and he has plenty of TMD to stop this. I think those were heading for either the HQ or the P-gens, and they completely fail, which is a huge, that's a lot of oh no, you need to finish these PDs, Petric. But that's a lot of mass that has done nothing. He's also been bombing those, so he's definitely fully aware of them. Still, what I'm seeing is a lack of support factories. And a lack of factories in general. Should have factories all the way to the edge of the map. I mean, we can see what Pepsi has. Pepsi probably has overflowing mass nearly at this point. Like he has just T1. Okay, he has some T2 there. He doesn't even have T3 land yet, which is kind of crazy. I'm not sure. Is he upgrading mexes? I don't see any mexes upgrading. It's not ridiculous to upgrade mechs on this map. It may sound ridiculous because T1 mechs are so efficient, but upgrading mechs is definitely an option at some point. Esperanto not going for that at this moment. He is just still mainly T1. He has almost no assistance on the HQ that's moving to T3. And Petric still needs more of everything, because he's getting overrun again, and if he stands still for even a moment, he gets absolutely murked by the by the Zeus. You can see he's gonna lose a Titan here. He lost an entire army, which was a Titan, maybe one Titan, a few pillars, and some T1 tanks, and they all disappeared and did not kill what they needed to kill. And again, he's just... Esperanto is just going around the T2 PDs. Petric, with most of them in this location, because that's going to his view. Yeah, you can see they're all in the one place. No PDs covering the sides at all. And Esperanto is just running around, and he's getting in the back now. And the number of units for Petric is way too small. Only 5 Titans, and a lot of them being wasted here in the middle. These guys aren't really in the best spot. Units having to be sent back, and look at the number of dead mechs at this point. Petric is 50k mass behind Esperanto. And if you're 50k mass behind, and also you can't add that much power either. He only has 3, he has 4 T2 pigeons. That's not enough either. Now, maybe this should be a nice help for him. We can see Esperanto running in with his units into exactly where Petric has a lot of PDs. This is good for him. You can see a lot of units in range of his PDs. This is exactly what he needs. And we're going to see a lot of kills on these PDs. See, oh my god, 5,000 mass on this one. They all have, like, these guys have 2,000 each, 2,000. So, again, as I said, the PDs are all that Petric needs, or has needed basically this whole game. Is just enough-ish to want T1, but just PDs across the map. We should have just... Because Pepsi just he gets in behind. He's running in the side, around the PDs, and then getting damaged. And if we look at the support factories, okay, now we have 2 support factories here. They're quite far forward, so they could actually... They're not defended by PDs either, so those are in a risky position. But it looks like Petric is holding on at this point. Looks like he's stabilized a bit more, but the damage to his eco is real. He needs to focus now a lot of energy on getting reclaim and rebuilding the T1 mexes very quickly. He's losing mexes, and he's actually regaining those mexes in the expansion. Oh no, there's no TMD here, or rather, I actually don't see a TMD, but I saw that get... Well, a TMD did shoot that, I'm pretty sure, but he loses a T2 pigeon there to the TMLs. Not many kills on these guys at all. This guy has 1,200 mass killed from, I guess, that pigeon. That's it though. Oh, a lot of reclaim around here. Looks like we have some dead Titans here. And it's, again, same story. Petric runs it, or... Ooh, Ravager does get finished. I was wondering if he might forget about that, because I saw it like 90% complete. Pepsi continues building more mexes. He has T3 land, right? Okay, he only now does he have T3 land. Extremely late. 20 minutes on Crazy Rush is really kind of ridiculous to have T3 land at that point, but there we go. Again, Titans dying to Zeus. Titans dying to Zeus. There goes another one. We lost 2 there, at least. And the rest of them are damaged severely. The power of Zeus. You see, you know, T2PDs don't have this problem. How many Zeus do we have on the map right now? 250 Zeus. There have been thousands built in this game. Surely at this point, thousands. So much. So many T1 factories, and he's doing some kind of chaining with his factories there, with the assisting. And look, he's just overrunning once again. Just overrunning. We also have, you know, enough. Well, I say enough. That's quite a small number of Ilshavo, but you can see actually the Ilshavo are tanking the damage as the Titans prioritize the Ilshavo and the Zeus and even the Thams. I mean, I don't know why he's making Thams, but he is. but the Zuis and the Thams are actually surviving because the Titans are focusing on the Ilshavo. So that's actually probably the main the main contribution some of these Ilshavo are making is really in tanking fire from the Titans, which is kind of interesting. And now we can see the mass overflow. Every T2 factory should go T3 at this point, I would say, for at least like these, and just grab 5 of these, send them to T3. Like he's just wasting so much mass, but he has so much more. He's nearly 100k mass ahead now, approaching 90k. And Petric is running out of units, running out of resistance. He just can't keep up with a far weaker economy. And he's never able to get PDs across the map. He gets, I mean, this Ravager needs support of T2 PDs, so he's trying to get them up now. It might be it seems too late at this point. Once again, another raid doing damage. Gets all the way, and it's inefficient, but still, if you can't protect this from being raided by just units, then it tells you everything about the position. And now the expansion getting overrun, the Ravager is going to go down, which is a really important defender here. I mean, I assume it's going to go down. Just Zuis. Oh, T3 factory goes down. Another disadvantage of having it so forward is that hard to protect with TMD. Yeah, 3 TMD behind it, and somehow the missile was not shot down. Something UEF TMD, I guess, is the standard response. It's right about this. I wonder how differently this would be if the Titans were shooting Zuis the whole time instead of Ilshavo. Could be interesting. It would definitely be superior. I mean, it has to be for this particular case. I wonder. But yes, this looks quite bad. 500 mass. I mean, it doesn't even matter really. Okay, now he's actually not wasting mass, but he was wasting 100 mass per tick for God knows how long. So I mean, it's at that point you probably start, you know, just grab some mexes, upgrade them, grab some more mexes, upgrade them to T2, and, you know, maybe make some TMD, because there's no TMD whatsoever. Just noticed that. Literally 0 TMD for Pepsi the entire game. That's really bad. But he's getting away with it. Now we have T3 land. I mean, he's making Autumns. I feel like you should just make T3 artillery, because the only thing stopping him is the T2PD. That's the only real obstacle he has. The Titans are no obstacle, because there's not enough of them. He can already beat those. He can already overrun those, or at least overrun them to the point where he inflicts damage. I mean, Petric is down to so few mexes at this point. There can be no coming back, but, you know, if we want more accurate play, if we want to see some T3 mobile artillery to take out the PDs, which are getting 5k mass apiece in kills, like, holy crap. Petric is probably going to die here, moving to the left. This is a full desperation play. I don't think he really believes he can survive. Oh, TML. Yeah, more factories going down. And the back of the base has no defense at this point. It's going to be completely overrun by Autumns, and... Wait, actually no, they are still in range of PDs, but... This is the end. Defense is eroded on this side as well. And... that is it. Esperanto wins on Crazy Rush. not something you'd expect. You expect Crazy Rush to be a good map for Petric, but this was not that strong a performance from him. Esperanto, I mean, honestly, I don't even think he played it that well. I mean, definitely he had a weaker opening in the first, 5 or so minutes, and but Petric failed to scale his production, and Esperanto did not fail to scale his T1 land production at all. Not even, say how many factories, over 100 factories T1 at the end, plus some T3 support factories and a T3 HQ. So yes, good stuff from Esperanto. Sorry, my mod is stopping me. There you go, 104 factories at the end. T1. Well played from Esperanto. And he takes a 1-0 lead in the best of 5. So let's move to the second map and see what happens there. Okay, here we are on the second map, the Ganges Chasma. And Esperanto's gone for Cybran. And Petric has gone for Aeon. Quite interesting that, well, there's been some, talk in the forums about mirror matchups, and I was one of the people who sort of thought there were far too many mirror matchups in the past. But actually in this tournament, there have been, seems to have been a lot less mirror matchups actually. For whatever reason, actually. I'm not even sure exactly why there have been so many fewer, but it does feel as though there have been a lot fewer. So that's quite a positive change in my view. Now here we have, also Esperanto is almost always a Cybran player on the, well, he is always on the ladder, but in the previous match we saw a Seraphim pick from him, and here we have him back to Cybran and Aeon for Petric. He is basically always going to pick Aeon on a 5x5 map. Not sure if there's any exceptions to that. I'm trying to think, but it's like, it's a pretty high percentage he's going to be Aeon, so no surprise there. I don't even know how many games of Aeon Esperanto has played, so that's something. I would not expect him to, wouldn't be surprised by him going Cybran versus Aeon here. Flare from Petric takes out the mole in the middle. You can see moles from Esperanto. Spotting for labs, not a surprise to see a lab from Petric either. He likes to mix it up. He's not always going to make a lab, but he will make them often enough that you have to be wary and defend against them. Another mole lost. Now that's kind of bad. You don't need to lose a mole there. It's fast, it has the vision, and he's actually walking an engineer into the lab, which is a really bad mistake. He didn't need to head in that direction. He does manage to get away with it though. Saves the engineer on low HP. Petric has gone for second air and has made a bomber. Quite a common opening on this map, as we have a lot of reclaim in the middle and around the base as well to be used, so we need a lot of build power in the base. And we also have to do quite a bit of expanding, so if you can damage somebody's opening like this, especially on a 5x5, it can allow you to take better map control, get reclaim faster, and snowball the advantage. 4 kills there. Really nice bomber, good micro. And he's going to escape away from the anti-air. He won't escape the inti though. And he may even lose the inti fight thanks to the anti-air as well. No, he actually wins the inti fight, which is interesting. We have 3 land factories. So actually Esperanto at this point is ahead on land factories. He's slightly ahead. He also has 1 building at the front, so this is quite a decent opening from Esperanto. Although he has invested now into 3 mobile anti-airs. Getting a raid off at the top. Can perhaps snag this T3 engineer wreck, which is pretty juicy. That's the juiciest wreck on the map here. So I have 1 here, and we have... what is that? Something there. I actually don't know what that is. But I don't even remember seeing that on the map before. But there you go. It's 158 mass of something. What the hell is it? Is it an ASF? I think it is an ASF actually. Never actually noticed that before. Well, there you go. Still, T2 engineer is the juicy wreck in this map. You get a T2 engineer at the front of your base as well. Another bomber misses this time, and will get vaporized by the anti-air. The flying anti-air. Petric walks to middle and builds the 2 mexes and then a PD. This is what he will do on this map, more or less every time. Middle is a great area for the Aeon player, as you have a nice flat large space that you can micro in, keep your units alive, and it's where you want to be fighting with the Aurora and your commander. The sides are not so fun to micro around. You gotta be quite careful. So yeah, we also have a lot of reclaim here in these sides, and actually Esperanto with that initial... oh, he gets killed from the hill. Trying to steal reclaim there with that guy, who was the guy who got labbed in the opening. A lot of factories up for Petric now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 land factories in the base versus 2, 4, 6, 7, and 1 outside the base. That's 8, so quite even. Petric has controlled the middle though. These 2 mexes, a lot of space as well, is not to be discounted, and this position is getting raided. Mex goes down. Esperanto looks like he wants to make an upgrade. He definitely looks like he wants to make an upgrade, but I may have read that wrong. Oh, this could be quite an annoying raid here. Does Petric have mass at this point? He has plenty of mass. Doesn't have that many units, I gotta say. He's got 24 Aurora versus 31 Mantis, and we do have some Medusa mixed in there. You definitely want to mix in some Medusa earlier, much earlier versus Aurora than you do versus other T1 tanks. You need the range of the Medusa and the damage to actually, you know, you can get some very juicy kills versus Aurora with Medusa that you're not going to get versus Thams or Strikers or other Mantis. Of course, because of the low HP of the Aurora. Petric also holds a decent HP advantage on his opponent, although Pepsi has, of course, the higher regen from that Cybern Commander. So random Jester is completely wasted. That's a pretty bad move from Esperanto to waste that thing. It's not cheap. And overall, it looks like Petric is in decent control at this point. Oh, T2 land is up for Esperanto. This has been his plan. He's not rushing it immediately. He went for it after the initial stages where trying. Petric walking into a lot of units here with no support, and he's getting dropped to 3,000. If he goes below 2,500, I think we're going to see a control K from Esperanto. Okay, he's still holding out for the win here, but there's no way he gets the win. He definitely can get a draw though. They're both on the same HP now. Esperanto's going to die, and so is Petric in the nuclear blast from the commander. Mistake there from Petric. Walked into quite a few Mantis and the ACU, and his Aurora were not with him, and there we go, he goes down, and this map will be replayed. Maps that are drawn are replayed until we have a victor. So let's check out the rematch on the Ganges Chasma. Okay, the rematch. So let's see if we see anything different. I wouldn't expect Petric not to make a lab. I think Petric is a player who will... He definitely is a player who can change up his opening with no problems, basically. So I would say he probably is likely to change his opening and not make a lab. I think second air bomber is still on the table for sure, but maybe he will just go, you know, third air. He probably won't go later than third air because of, you know, fears of air-based reprisal. But let's see how it goes. Let's see what Esperanto does as well. He may go second air bomber. He went third air bomber last time, making 3 mexes and then the Hydra, not making the 4th one. Saving on power for some reason. Perhaps this indicates something. I don't know what it indicates, because this is not a common thing to do. Well, it is second land, third air. Probably the same as last time. And would you look at that? There's a lab. And here's the 2 scouts. So both of them actually doing exactly the same thing, by the looks of it. Yeah, that's second air. So kind of interesting that they do exactly the same thing. He's even sending the lab to the same place. And will this lab die this time? Will Esperanto react? This is slow. This is slow. Now he knows it's dead. Will he retreat the scout like he did last time? No, he won't. He's running to the base. He's gonna scout the base with the land scout. He oh, his AC is kind of going for a walk here. That's not ideal. And the lab doesn't go to this side now. It goes to the bottom side. The Mantis covering here. You can see how Pepsi puts a Mantis or a unit on attack move from the factory here, so you can gather a lot of mass. Lab runs into the base, walks into the commander, feats in veterancy, but scouts third air. Now let's see, will the factory be completed? The factory actually is slower this time. I'm not sure why the factory is so much slower now, but Pepsi does already have 4 Mantis out, which is quite big. I mean, there's now 3 out for Petric. Bomber is a bit slow in moving around. Dodge from Pepsi, good one. Good dodge. He did manage to get into the base with the land scout, by the way. So Petric doesn't keep attacking the engineer that's dodging. That's usually a good move to just, if you miss, fly on force him to dodge with a different engineer. It's a bit less predictable generally. He is going to lose the bomber after getting 2 kills. One guy in the back, denying a P-gen that was almost complete, and one guy in the base. Not as effective as last time, but Petric does not lose an Inti, which is something. Maybe Petric can win air soon. Who knows? Pepsi attacking on the top side again, as he did before. Also heading straight to this position and getting a really nice kill on this engineer, who is going to boost the amount of mass Petric would have in the opening by a large degree. So there is a ton of mass here. These are the most important reclaim spots, I would say, on the map, other than the contested reclaim in the corner, although this is obviously more difficult to get. So both of them in the middle. Pepsi here more quickly than last time. Petric basically got middle for free in the previous game. Pepsi not going to allow that. That's probably why his T3 air, or his third air was delayed somewhat in this build, because he headed to the middle of the map more quickly with the ACU. As a guess, I would say. That's my guess. 3-6 factories in terms of land, and whoa, 4.5 factories. This does not look good. He also oh, this is why. It's not because he went to the middle faster. Well, it is. He didn't stop to build a factory here. So this is a much worse build order from Pepsi now. Much worse. And if you don't have numbers in the early game versus Aurora, you are not going to have numbers after that. I mean, this looks like quite a bad opening. You need to be able to keep the number of Aurora lower. Like, you know, when you have those fights where it's like 6 or 7 Mantis versus 4 Aurora, and you can get on top of the Aurora. Those are the fights you need to aim for. And at this point, Esperanto is not across the map at all. All of his units are on his side, and deep in his side, mainly. And that's because he has less production. The Aurora actually even getting, like, what? Getting raided by Aurora? Excuse me. You know you messed up when this is happening. And now he retreats. Look how good the trades are going to be for the Aurora. 0 damage taken, basically, and 4 dead Mantis. This is the power of Aurora on a 5x5 map. No bombers either from... Okay, here we have our first bomber, it seems, coming out for Esperanto. That's a potential avenue where he can get some good trades. I mean, even if he suicides a bomber into one army and then overruns the rest of them with Aurora, with Mantis, that can be a good move. Here, looks like he might get some good trades. Petric again reacts pretty quickly. Not immediately, but pretty quickly, and is retreating away. Esperanto turns around. You can see that was more or less an even trade, even though it seemed like it should have been good for the Mantis. Oh, imagine a bomber. Oh, imagine a bomber. The bomber is idle. This looks like another painful trade might be incoming. Okay, yeah. Esperanto realizes that. Begins to run away. And meanwhile, Petric making the range gun. Another reason to despise playing against Aeon on a 5x5 map. Cheaper gun upgrades. And extremely good gun upgrades. You have the where other factions have a single gun upgrade. Okay, let's stop talking about that and see the air fight. Esperanto wants to win air, and he's going to succeed, surely. Okay, he's gone off map. Not sure what's happening here. He's running away. No. What the fuck is happening? Okay, that was super strange and bad, and I don't like this. Now anti-air is coming out, and the anti-airs are going to win the fight, if nothing else. Yeah, there we go. The anti-airs contribute a lot there at the end. The bad micro contributes a lot at the beginning. And elsewhere, oh my god, some of the worst trades in the history of trades. Oh. And now the range gun commander walking forward. I don't know if Esperanto had started an upgrade, but he's definitely not making it anymore. He may have started one. Certainly may have been thinking about starting one, at the very least. And now it looks quite bad. The air win would have been pretty important. Could have at least done something. Potentially threatened the commander with gestures or something. Gotten bombers on the side where there's no anti-air. I mean, there's a lot of anti-air out now though. But yeah, what I was saying is that the Aeon have the gun upgrade split into 2 upgrades. Esperanto does have T2 land now. But yeah, so they have the range gun and they have the speed gun. The range gun gives you more range than an enemy gun commander. Significantly more. And the speed gun gives you the double DPS that other gun commanders would have from other factions. But the beauty is you can just get the range, and that's very effective. And it's 500 mass instead of 800 mass, which is what the gun is for Cyber or UEF or Seraphim. So together the Aeon have more expensive if you get both of them, but being able to get one at a time is actually quite nice. So you can see now he's making use of the range. This is especially effective if you have overcharge. And yeah, it looks extremely good. And now you can see we transition to this point in the game where actually Petric has huge map control, and now he can just send all of his units to the middle, which really reduces the chance of him suiciding to a very, very small amount. And the hoplites can be overcharged by this range commander quite effectively. Not sure what Esperanto can do at this point. Petric with probably too many anti-air. Although if he's accidental 5 storage is made here, maybe more in fact, instead of PGens, that's hurtful. Hurtful. It's not good. Huge mass lead for Petric now. Continues to put the pressure, disallowing any option of an AC upgrade for Esperanto. Esperanto trying to get some counter raids going. Seems pretty well over. I don't see how I don't see how Esperanto comes back. We have a fight over here. I wonder how this fight will go. It'll probably be quite even. But it's ultimately irrelevant. Petric now pushing on the commander. He has Esperanto in range. Doing some damage, but the hoplites, of course, are going to do extremely well versus the Aurora. And so is the commander as he retreats. But Pepsi does lose maybe 2000 HP there at least in that fight. Petric loses nothing. Petric changes point of attack to the left. Gets some free kills, and he can just keep this at this AC at arm's length. And Pepsi is just taking so much damage for free. It's really hurts. Down to 2000 HP now almost. And this, yeah, he's not getting out of range anymore. Okay, Petric needs to maybe dodge some of these hoplite shots. He's just eating them all. You can dodge them, but it's okay. He has just enough HP. Well, just enough. He has plenty of HP to survive that. Wow, that's bright. So it happens when you turn on Bloom, I guess. Thought I might try it. I am generally just against Bloom. Because of how overused it is in a lot of games, including this one probably. But We'll try it for this cast. So Petric wins this one. He was in control in the first match, but had a little bit of a lapse in concentration. This match was total domination and a worse build order for sure from Esperanto, for whatever reason. So the match is finally drawn at 1-1. Let's see how game 4 and map 3 go. Alright, we're on Desert Arena. Let me first quickly check what version. Okay, this is not the flat version, which is quite important. On the flat version, T2PDs are very, very powerful and very important. On this version, as a Seraphim, I mean, not so much. I mean, I can definitely see them being useful, but you gotta be careful. You definitely don't want to build any in these lower areas. Probably we won't see many PDs. On the flat version, maybe that is one reason why the flat version is... People could argue the flat version is worse. That TTPDs are a bit too powerful. But that seems more of a taste thing anyway. Anyway, we're on Desert Arena. Key features are lots of mass. More mass. Lots and lots of mass and spam. And spam and mass and AC upgrades. It's 5x5. It's fast paced. It's aggressive. It's a fast scaling. It's NGs as your economy, as they are not only building everything but reclaiming everything. So already we have 15 factories planned for Petric. Let's get that out of the way. At the beginning, you see over here, he places a factory. Bit of a trade secret is when you place a factory on top of reclaim, the engineer will reclaim before it starts building at the speed you would normally see from manual reclaim. So watch this guy. Bam, 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 bam. If he's on attack move, way slower. Way slower. See this guy? He's just chilling. Civil servant. Just putting in the hours. Doesn't want to work too hard. This guy's like, I own this business. If I don't make this shit happen, we're not making money. So, bit of a trick there. Can definitely be useful. If you want to really exploit the crap out of that trick, you can pause the engineer, cube a factory here, and then once he's reclaimed all that at lightning speed, then you move the factory somewhere else. You just move it up here, it reclaims all this, move it here, he reclaims all this. But, you know, I mean, that's a lot of work. If you can do it, it's kind of sick. That's an old trick I learned from TA for Life a long time ago, and actually on this exact map is where he demonstrated it. So the bomber gets, what was that? A couple of kills. Looks like we have 3 dead engineers. Pretty good bomber. Once again, we see the value of bombers on 5x5 maps, especially ones where you have 10 million engineers. Let's see how many engineers we have already for Petric. We're at 20 pretty much versus 8. Oh, and in the opening I did say, you know, engineers as your economy. They're building, they're reclaiming, they're everything, and Petric gets twice as many. So pretty strong start. You can see Petric has less units. That's easily verifiable. 3 anti-airs all in one place is not great. But, you know, 16 THAMs already versus 6. Oh no, you say. We're gonna take so much damage. No, we're not. No, we're not. All our economy. I mean, look, this is all the economy in our base. All of these rocks here. We don't even... It's... Being 10 tanks ahead at minute 4.5 looks pretty sick. But if it's at the expense of half the engineers of your opponent, then you are going to suffer later in the game. Because how are you going to scale in the same way? This bomber is attacking a hydrocarbon. That's not the best target. Not the best target at all. But those bombers are getting free passes. You can see these, you know, all these bonus tanks he's getting here. They have denied this expansion slightly. They're going to do a raid. But, you know, that's not a great deal of damage done. Also, this is kind of ridiculous that Petric gets this for free when he has so few tanks. Pepsi just not aware that Petric is here taking 4 mexes for free. Okay, so there's all the extra tanks dying in the side and in the bottom here. Pepsi with, you know, better expansion to the sides, but he's lacking the middle. PD's going up. Quite important to have PDs here. And we also have Petric making the hydrocarbon in the expansion with the help of an engineer. Quite a good thing to be doing on this map. Of course, with this much mass, you need a lot of power to run all those mexes and build 50 factories. So we got engineers reclaiming. Generally, when you're reclaiming with engineers, you want to try to split the engineers up as much as possible, so they're more. It's more efficient that way. How much more efficient? I do not know. This is the truth. I don't know how much more efficient, but I know that it is. The more your engineers are split, the less they're going to be trying to reclaim the same rock at the same time, which is going to reduce the amount of movement they're doing and increase the amount of reclaim they're doing, basically. So, now let's see how many factories we have. 14 and 5 idle. There's probably some unfinished factories in there. So let's say we have... We're approaching 20. And... pretty similar for Esperanto. It's gotta be said. Number of units... 53 to 36, so Petric's still behind on units actually, which is interesting. In terms of reclaim though, 8k to about 4k or 4.5k. Petric with less mass, less total with more total mass but less generated for the moment. Pepsi is taking the middle. It's going to get raided though by the looks of it. And the ACU from Petric is really defensive. Meanwhile, Esperanto is looking to make good use of his commander heading towards this expansion. There are multiple PDs going up. The Hydro will surely go down. This PD should go up. There's a lot of engineers here. This PD, if this is denied, oh, it's going to go up actually, isn't it? He is stalling though. That might stop him from finishing this. Oh, that's a really important PD. That would do a lot for him if he could finish that. Come on, no way. They're not killing the NG. Oh my god, he finished the PD. Let's see how many kills it gets before it goes down. They're shooting the wall. They're literally targeting the wall. Now they're targeting the mechs. And this PD. Okay, that single PD here that finished, which should never have finished, now has 12 kills. 13 kills before it goes down. That could have been denied. We could have at least 10 more tanks here. Look at the amount of THAMs deposited in this expansion for Petric to reclaim. And look at this power that may go down. This is painful. It's expensive there to be losing those. Bombers flying around, getting quite a lot of passes. Need another PD here. And the lack of Zuis is surprising. Right now, Petric is moving into the middle. He has quite a few kills in his ACU, more than Pepsi does, in fact. This power hasn't been killed. Hopefully it will be. Please kill the power. Just kill this one and you kill 3 at once. That would be nice. The bomber does it for him. 400 mass killed. Bam. Alright, Petric under pressure though. Really lacking generated eco, and he needs it. Now forced to retreat away as the commander heads in this direction. I don't know why the commander's heading backwards. He has full HP. He should be attacking, should be fighting. If he's retreating now, it should only be to make an upgrade, but this does not seem like the right time to make an upgrade, if I'm honest. He still can maintain a lot of pressure. After walking back here, he just opens the way for units to come in here, raid the engineer, and deny him access, which is not ideal. On this side we have a very bad trade happening for Pepsi. Petric now has 19k reclaim versus Pepsi's 9k. The problem will arrive for Petric when he runs out of reclaim on his side of the map. This is why you need map control, but right now Pepsi has 55 THAMs and 21 Zuis. Petric now has 86 THAMs and 14 Zuis, so Petric now has the unit lead, and I can only assume that this is because of some really bad trades, and of course he has way more total mass at this point, way more, 38k, because he's 13,000 mass ahead in reclaim. Pepsi not taking really any rocks here in his base. I mean, there's so much mass on his side of the map that has just not been touched. This whole expansion, nothing taken, more or less. This expansion, very little taken. Even the back of his base, there's not much taken. So this is just Petric understanding the map better. That's a shift G against Zui's. Ow. And Pepsi may be dying right here. 5.5k on his commander, 10.5 on Petric's. Petric needs to be sending all his reinforcements as he is across here, even sending units from the top down. And Pepsi will escape. For now, neither player can get an upgrade, of course. At this point, this could be quite an annoying raid, quite a painful raid. It would be more painful if Pepsi had actually made engineers to reclaim, but he's not doing that, so they don't get raided because he didn't build them. The bombers are also quite annoying. That may be some of the reason why there's not as much reclaim for Esperanto. I mean, it's definitely not the whole story. Esperanto simply is not building enough engineers to reclaim, but he could also be getting bombed. That's for sure. There's a lot of bombers coming in on this army. They've just missed mainly though, but it looks like this might be the end. Seems like there's more units for Petric here. It's definitely a lot more health. Esperanto should get a vet. He's very close. He's on 3k HP, but it should not matter because Petric is also almost on a vet. He's at 10k HP. Esperanto gets focused down now. Comfortable victory in the end for Petric. And I think this was just well, Esperanto not playing the map correctly. For one, well, clearly the reclaim was an issue. It is the most important part of the map, is, you know, gathering the reclaim effectively and efficiently turning it into tanks, upgrades, and also the lack of air. Certainly a mistake. You can see we saw bombers everywhere, all the time, and the air factory is only being built now, which is way too late. 12.5 minutes. I mean, you need some air. You need to deny this just constant bomber spam out of this factory. I mean, Petric is even assisting this factory because the bombers are getting so much value. He just invests more in them. And I mean, you can see here 7 kills. This guy's 4 kills. He's in the base. There are a lot of bombers made. They're very annoying. So good performance from Petric there. 20k more reclaim. And that's 16k more generated. Or 16k more total, 20k more in reclaim. So Pepsi actually had more in terms of T1 mechs production. But, you know, the reclaim is more important. So there we go. That is 2-1. 2-1 to Petric, which means we have at least one more game. This is a must-win match, must-win map for Esperanto. He has to win the next map. Otherwise, he's out of the tournament and Petric will move to the semi-finals. So let's see what happens on map number 4. Okay, map number 4. Slightly unusual map for 1 versus 1. Also, I noticed some mats in the middle. Thanks for that. Good luck, have fun there. Oh, those messages. Not a fan. There we go. We're on Adaptive Pyramid. 10 by 10 map. Corner spawns. This map does not feel like 10 by 10. It feels larger. But that's probably because there's a lot of mass. You're in the corners, right in the corners, I mean. And the entire map is used. There's no dead space here, basically. There's even these annoying to drop plateaus. These can actually be hard to land an engineer on. I know I've tried to land on this before, it failed. But yeah, it's Adaptive Pyramid. There have been pyramid maps on the ladder before. This is not a first for a 1v1, but this particular variant has not been on the ladder. There was a 3v3 one. There's a pyramid version where you have bases maybe more forward, closer together, which have been played. But yeah, we got pyramid here. Again, a lot of mass, especially in the opening. You have a lot of reclaim, very close together. So we have a lot. Of course, this is going to be manually reclaimed. Petric expanding immediately instead of... Oh, look at that. Okay, this looks like some planning has occurred. So we have second air. And so after these guys made... I think some of them at least assisted the hydrocarbon. And then ran straight to the next hydrocarbon. So then this is really nice. This rushing this next hydrocarbon is going to have it faster than Pepsi. Pepsi has the similar idea, but this does not look as convincing to me. Making 2 factories at once, I already am not a fan of, because I mean there's no need to, considering he has all his build power in the same place anyway here. Like, his build power is in the same place, but he's making 2 factories at once. It's not ideal. Both factories are going to come later than when your second factory should be online. Hydrocarbon's done for Petric. Pepsi's not done yet. Petric a bit faster with his air. We have 2.5 land factories now versus 3 for Petric. Petric now getting the reclaim. You see, he doesn't dive straight for the reclaim. He delays it, rushes the hydrocarbon instead, and then gets the reclaim afterwards. He can use the stored mass that he has to fund the initial 2 or 3 factories. and then the reclaim after can be used in conjunction with the power from the hydro to get a lot of factories out quickly. Some idle engineers at this point. Now Esperanto making hydros in both the expansions on the sides, and you can see he has no T1P gens queued up. It's very important. A lot of people will overbuild power when they have hydros, when really you need to just, at the beginning, you have access to 4 hydros. I mean, that's 1,000 power. So, I mean, you don't need T1 pigeons for a long time. You can go from the few T1 pigeons and the hydro, 3 more hydros, and then the next pigeon can be a T2 pigeon at that point. Basically. So it looks like that's what we may see. Petric going forward with his air. Esperanto just running to middle really quickly with his ACU. Faster than, yeah, quite a bit faster than Petric. This is maybe like 1 factory faster. Perhaps? That would be an interesting skill to have, to accurately read the distance in terms of how many factories you could have built. I don't think I really have that skill, but let's say maybe it's a factory, maybe it's, who knows. But I think that hurt. So we can see, yeah, Pepsi with more power income at the moment, but he has less mass. He's also overflowing that power, so better build from Petric by the looks of it. He's also dropping much faster. Esperanto has a transport. He's heading to the middle. So not only did he rush his ACU to the middle, he's also dropping engineers there. He has a lot of mass in the bank, and he has stopped wasting power now. But Petric is dropping in the normal way you would, and say Pyramid in a team game from air spot. You rush transport, you drop sides, and then you drop to the corner as well. Also normal for 1 versus 1. Also, yeah, both players gone for Cybern. Not unusual. The Mantis is just so strong on this map. You're gonna have a lot of spam. Both players gonna have 100 Mantis pretty quick, and they're gonna be running everywhere, raiding everywhere. And this is the reason that we have both players playing Cybern here. Skirmish is on the top. Let's see who has more Mantis right now. 50 Mantis. Ooh, big power stall. For some reason I said 4 Hydras is 1,000 power. It's obviously completely wrong. It's only 400 power. So let's just correct that. I'm sure there's already comments in the comment section saying what an idiot I am, but you know, that's fine. So we won't be going straight to a T2 pigeon after, you know, 4 Hydras, that's for sure. Actually, still no T2 at all. At this point, at least I don't see any upgrades coming. We're just full T1 spam at the moment. As we can see, a ton of map control to fight for at this point. This drop in the middle has produced quite a few factories and quite a few more planned. Petric, meanwhile, seems to have just walked here. At least I think so. He hasn't yet dropped this plateau or the other side. Also, Esperanto still has not dropped his plateaus here. You can see it's not just mexes, but also reclaim in these positions. What is going on? Okay, he's making factory. I think we will probably see some upgrades in the near future. T2 and the gun are both options. It used to be classic on Pyramid back when it was played really often in team games. Back in probably, I don't know, 2016 or so. 2015, you would have one guy rush T2 immediately in Pyramid. Well, run to mid and rush T2 and spam PDs to fight for the reclaim, take the reclaim. In this scenario, T2 certainly an option. You have a lot of mass to pump through that commander, but also we could see the gun. We do have Esperanto after all. He's more likely to make the gun than T2 in general. Now, do we have any upgrades, guys? Where's the... I mean, we don't have any mechs upgrades from Esperanto here. Still no drop to the side as well. He seems to be dropping towards this side. Maybe he can't drop here. I'm not sure why he's flown past there. Is he going to lose his transport? Only has one engineer on board, so wouldn't be a huge loss. But it looks like Esperanto is winning air control. Maybe we'll see T2 air as a result. And he could just go for a snipe. Of course, I mean, look. Just imagine how many Corsairs you could make on this map. 145 Mantis. 115, so Esperanto, as he does, has more Mantis than his opponent. He does also have less reclaim though. Well, less reclaim. Less generated mass. Less upgraded mexes. He's completely run over this. There was a PD there for a moment. Dead now, of course. T2 land from Petric. I think we'll see T3 rush from Petric. Most likely. And we'll see Loyalists. Have to imagine. On 10x10 maps with a lot of mass, T3 rush is still really good. And basically with all factions now, because I mean, if you're Seraphim, the Autumn is faster now. It's a extremely good unit versus T2. And it's just a good unit in general. And of course, if you're up against an ACU, getting just 1-2 snipers out can absolutely kill a commander push. Aeon, of course, have the Harbs, which are amazing versus lower techs. And Cybern have the Loyalist. And UEF have the Titan. So 10x10 T3 rush is a good thing with this much mass available. So we have some rhinos coming out from Petric, it seems, and he's desperately trying to get a P-gen up. This is a painful P-gen. Pretty big mass, so you can see it came late because he has 3,000 mass in the back. So yeah, that's maybe not the greatest transition he's ever made in his life. But he got through it. What's this air gonna do for Esperanto? He's making jesters. He is making jesters from 2 factories with assistance. How many jesters does he have now? 5. Only 5 jesters, and he's actually doesn't have mass at this point. I hope he's not upgrading mexes. He probably is upgrading mexes as he make. Well, no, he isn't. He has 1 T2 mex. Singular T2 mex. Also some reclaim in the base. That would be pretty nice. Looks like he is quite far behind at this point. Unable to maintain the map control. Losing on this side. This is a dangerous army, and there's really nothing here to stop it. The middle looks completely busted. A lot of production for Petric. T2 production as well. He's got engineers out. Could be making PDs or maybe TMD, TML. Bit of a raid coming here. But again, that's really He's raiding something that really he should already have control of, so can't look on that too favorably. And okay, still no T3. Petric doesn't want to risk anything, I guess. He's focused on just making sure he doesn't get overrun initially. He doesn't need to rush T3 land. He's already in the driving seat. T3 land rush might be a risk because ultimately Pepsi does not even have T2 land by the looks of it. Pepsi under attack here. Wow. No radar anywhere at all. This is not great. Petric has already run almost all the way home. Now he's running back towards some units. That's not a great thing. And here come the jesters. Inties are here. There's a flak I can hear. 2 flaks. 3 flaks. 4th flak comes out of the factory. Another reason not to upgrade your HQ, because well, you can't switch it to flak production then without wasting a lot of mass. Petric does lose air, but that is immaterial. No, he doesn't even lose air, it seems. Looks like that'll probably be a draw at worst, because some inties went quite idle. So yeah, no, he actually won air there somehow. And yes, that should be it. We have 175 mantis. We have 8 T2 units out as well. Still equal number of mantis to Esperanto, but Esperanto has none of the other units. No scouts, no T2, no anti-air, nada. And Petric is quite safe. Should probably walk all the way back to his base, maybe get under a shield. Here's a shield planned. And Petric can do many things. Could T2 air might be nice actually at this point. T2 air would be quite difficult for Esperanto to deal with. I mean, just, you know, make some Corsairs and kill this commander would probably be the quickest way to end the game. Or even gunships. I mean, they're gonna allow for less dodging. Now Corsairs building up for, I say building up, he's building his first Corsair. Is Esperanto. I would have preferred he goes straight for the Corsairs, honestly. Jesters, you know, for one, he has to cover a long distance because Petric walked back to the base. And, you know, Corsairs are a lot faster. Okay, yeah, Corsairs getting killed coming out of the factory. That's nearly GG. I mean, if you can't even build the units you need for the snipe, should probably consider throwing in the towel. But you know, it's a tournament, and if he loses this game, he is out. So generally in these kind of games you'll see people play significantly longer than in even other tournament games. Say if this was the first in the series, I think Esperanto would already be out. Seeing as it's probably his last in the series and the tournament, he will play a little longer, hold on as long as possible. Hoplites running in, getting ruined as they are caught in the midst of the Manti. It's just full select everything and give move order mode from Petric. Set your rally point in the enemy base time. A lot of reclaim as well for him. And he is going to T3 and making loyalists. Also flying his air over to see what's here. Killing some stuff on the way. Flies away as there's a lot of anti-air produced to protect the production. Finds the commander. Do we have T2 air? No T2 air. I think there's maybe some power problems that have now been resolved thanks to another P-gen. And all the units will converge on the enemy base or commander. Oh, look at this. Imagine some bombers Imagine a Janus. I mean, we definitely won't see a Janus, but that would be... Goddamn, they're actually well in on top of each other. That was something. Esperanto asks for a draw. You know, what's the harm in asking? Why not ask for a draw? Maybe he says yes. Maybe he accidentally clicks on the draw command up here. It has happened before in games where, I mean, I don't remember it happening in a tournament game, but I do remember it happening in some ladder games where somebody offers a draw at the start and then the other guy refuses. They never rescind the draw offer, and and then they're winning the game, and the enemy gets a draw by mutual consent. But yeah, not likely to happen here. Esperanto finds a cubby to hide in. Wow, that's obnoxious. There he goes. Didn't mean that he was obnoxious. I meant this bright white light. Guess this is another bloom effect here. But yes, he has his vanguard, the Swiss guard, holding the pass. And looks like he will fight to the last man. His base now getting overrun. And Medusa and Mantis. All that will remain is this ACU building some anti-air up on the Clayfire. Can't be killed by Mantis. Nice touch. Alright, we're going cinematic. Looks like the end. Are there any air units coming in? I don't see any. I see a bomber. The rhinos are arriving. The last few units going down. And the commander trying to wall himself off. Well played, says Pepsi. I think it's lasered all over. Rockets, bombs. And he's deleted from the map, from the game, from the tournament. There's a loyalist. A bit late to the party. So there we go. 3-1 it ends. To Petric Pauls. And pretty solid. Not the greatest play I've seen actually from either of these guys, honestly. I've seen them both play better. For sure, but you know, Petric on a bad day is better than probably well, almost anyone on a good day. So maybe if Esperanto was at his absolute best, he could have taken at least another map, but in this case he gets one, the opening map, and Petric comes back and gets 3 in a row, well, 1 draw and then 3 in a row to go through to the semi-finals. Pepsi dips out in the quarters, and that is the end of the series. Thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed, and again, check out the stream I did for the playoffs, and I will fill in the gaps with YouTube channel videos like this for the series that I didn't cover live. That's it from me. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.